Okay, I'm going to do a story time of when my high school student tried to fight me. All right, you guys, I was so shocked. I was like, did this girl really try to fight me? Y'all, these new generation kids don't care. They really don't have no respect. All right, backstory. Okay, so I started off teaching in 2019, and I was an elementary teacher straight out of college. That's what I went to college for, was to be an elementary teacher. I taught elementary for 2 years, and then I was asked to move up to high school. And I've always told myself I will never teach in high school because when I was in college, I was a substitute teacher for high school and middle school. And I was like, absolutely not. I don't know what is in the water, but these kids are built different. They really do not respect authority. They don't respect their own parents, guardians, whoever they live with. They don't respect their teachers. So when being asked to move to high school, I was very terrified because I know how these kids are. But I love the opportunity because I was going to teach a CTE class. If you don't know what that is, it's a career pathway. It was about students that wanted to work in education. So it was just like a great opportunity. Because they were trying to move me up to 5th grade science, and I really did not want to teach 5th grade science, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity in high school. So I decided to move to a high school that was within my district, and this high school was known to have a lot of problems. But I really didn't know that until I got into the school. So my first year at the high school was 2021, and I had a lot of challenging students. And I was told that I got challenging students in my class because I knew how to deal with them. Says who? Mind you, I did even love my challenging students, but they were a challenge because these students, a lot of the students at my high school, they're going through their own battles in life, and they really don't know how to express themselves. So I had a student in particular who gave me rather a hard time about completing assignments, being on time, following regular rules. Mind you, we started off with a pretty decent relationship. I did go above and beyond to have a good relationship with this particular student. However, it was hit or miss. Some days were good, some days not so good. Some days it will be a little cussing at me or just refusing to do any work, sitting in the back of the classroom on her phone, refusing to do the journal of the day, just not following expectations in my classroom. And me being new to high school, I really didn't know how to discipline in a way that this particular student would receive it well, because things could trigger this student. And not gonna lie, I was scared of this student. This student was known for fighting everyone in the school. So I was really walking on eggshells, okay? Calling home didn't work. I did reach out to administration on my campus. And of course, you know, they talk about building relationships and connections and all of that stuff. So this student in particular would show up and not do much in the class. So I would just give them a grade based off of showing up to class and sharing out loud their assignments rather than actually doing it on paper. So there was a situation I had with this student's friend. Right? So I was trying to get all the girls out of the bathroom. So I was like, you know, hurry up, get out of the bathroom. Like, y'all need to get out of the bathroom. I need to go to class. This student's friend was upset that I told her to get out of the bathroom and go to class. And she proceeded to cuss me out and say, FUB, just going off. And I'm like, okay, cool. Have a good day. You know, like I got sass too. I'm not going to cuss the student out, but I'm going to be sassy back because at the end of the day, I am a human. And like, who is you talking to? So I reported it immediately and told the administration, like, this girl just cussed me out crazy. That student then told her mom that I cussed her out. I said X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what? Because she was getting ISS. They did have my back and they were giving her ISS or suspending her. They ran the cameras back and they heard that I indeed did not cuss her out, and she did cuss me out like a dog. That student got suspended. And then after that, the student I had in my classroom, that ticked her off. Like off. Oh my God. You would have thought I was a kid at the school, the way that triggered her to want to beat me down. All right, you guys, I'm going to stop it here because it's so long, but comment below if you want part 2 because it gets juicy. Okay, so we ended off where my student that I had in my class was really upset that I snitched and told administration that her friend just cussed me up, down, and around the corner, and her friend got suspended. Okay, so the student I had that wanted to fight me, she started skipping my class. And I was like, great, I don't have to see her anymore. Like, I guess she felt some type of way. Mind you, a little backstory about that. Me and her, we actually was pretty cool. She was a challenging kid. And she was a baby stud, y'all. Okay, she was a challenging kid, but she used to always come in, like, check my shoes, because I always had, like, all the Jordans that came out. So she'd be like, let me see your shoes today, miss. You know, boom, boom, boom. So she started skipping my class and going to another teacher's class during my period, which I was totally fine. I was sending work down there so she could still try to get a grade. And she never did her work. This is me trying to help this situation, because you feel some type of way about me standing on business with your friend, which I don't understand why. But she did. So one day, you know, we have to stand in our door to greet our students to come in. And I was standing at my door to greet my students. And she walked past my classroom with her friend, and they were talking like they were going to fight me then and there. They were like, yeah, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z to her, not saying my name, but directing it towards me. They had a laptop acting like they were saying, oh yeah, and I'll do this to her, and like X, Y, and Z. Like they're just going at it. And I'm like, I'm getting preheated because I'm like, I cannot say nothing to them. They're like, I can't stand her. Boom, 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 boom. I can't wait till I boom, 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 boom. Like just going rah, rah, like really talking crazy. So guess what I did? I reported it yet again. They pulled the footage yet again. So this is pissing her off that I'm standing on business and I'm reporting each situation to administration, because what I'm not going to do is go back and forth with someone that has nothing to lose. She's the type of student that will fight a teacher and not care. Go crazy, because mind you, she has gotten into multiple fights at our school. She has cussed out multiple teachers. She has just been one of the students that you're just like, I cannot wait until you graduate and just be gone, right? So I report that situation. And then they get in trouble again. So the day that she really tried to fight me, like that wasn't already enough. Honey, I was traumatized. I'm like, this girl is really out to get me. Like, why? Because I'm doing my job. She act like I'm just like one of her ops in the streets. Like I'm literally a teacher doing my job and I'm reporting. So the situation does not get out of hand. So boom, she had some particular students that I'm really close with that she did not like and she wanted to fight. Mind you, these were good girls and they were just not about that life. So one day the students they came to me, they were like, yeah, so that student, let's just call her, she needs a name. KJ. So let's just say KJ did not like those students. And those students were like walking in the hallway and KJ seen them and tried to press them. So those students then come to me and I'm in the hallway yet again because I'm waiting to receive my other students. KJ sees them with me and we're in the hallway. She comes running down the hallway, charging at us. So we run into my classroom. Luckily, when you close the door automatically locks because it's locked on the outside. So she could not get in. And she's beating on the door, beating like, y'all come outside. Like you would have thought we were in the hood and she was banging on my door. Mind you, we were at school. So she's beating on my door like, come outside. Like I'm about to go outside and fight her. Like, girl, I'm calling the cops, okay? But yeah, so she's beating on my door, beating on the door. And like, I'm recording it because I'm like, I'm about to show them what's going on. So administration come and they get her. She goes to the office and then I have to go to the office to make a report. She's in the office, but somehow she ends up in the same area as me and she's talking mad crazy. Like, I can't wait till I X, Y, and Z to you. Like, yeah, you got something coming for you. Like, rah, just going at it. Like, I did something wrong. Like, you came and approached us trying to fight us. Mind you, I am the teacher. Of course, I'm going to report it. So she's in the office, like, giggling, talking crazy to me. Like, oh, I'm about to do X, Y, and Z. Mind you, they never changed her schedule, so she's still on my roster. So after she tried to fight me that day in the hallway, y'all, she comes back to my classroom and it gets crazy. I'm like, where do I work? What is going on? Me reliving it is like really mind blowing because I'm just like, I cannot believe that really happened to me. Like I should have just quit that day, but I did it. But like, so after that situation and we made a report and all of that, they never changed her schedule. And then she came back to my class one day. Comment down below if you guys want part 3 because this video is so long and I have to leave. But when I tell you that girl ran down to my classroom ready to dog me out, it was crazy. Comment below if you want part 3.
Story time on how the last day of school ended terribly wrong. It all started off good and we had a field day, and then around 12 we ate lunch before we got on the bus for our 1 to 2 hour drive to Busch Gardens, and that's like basically like when everything started. So on the bus there was around 2 to 3 different groups of 14 students, so the bus was like jam-packed, it was full, and each seat was occupied. So these 2 boys had sat behind me and my friend, and we didn't really care because, like, okay, you know, all the seats are full, where else are we gonna sit? But it was me and my friend in one row, and then my other friend sat on the other side because there was only 2 seats on each row, and no one sat with her, so she was just sitting alone. But yeah, so the 2 boys sat behind us, then 2 of the boys' friends sat in front of us. So yeah, we had the 2 boys sitting behind us and the 2 boys sitting in front of us and their friends. So tell me why. Everything was going great, everything was fine. We were just sitting, listening to music. I was talking to my friend that I was sitting with, and we were laughing, having fun, whatever. Tell me why the 2 boys behind us kept hitting our seat and like putting their hand like on my back. So pretend like this is the seat. They kept like putting their hand like right here, so I could feel their hand on my back. Like, most people wouldn't care, and I really didn't care, but like, you know, I told them to stop because like I'm just trying to chill for this 2-hour drive. And yeah, I kept telling them to stop, and they did for a second, and then they kept doing it over and over again, and they kept doing it to my friend as well that was sitting next to me, and I literally kept telling them to stop, and they just kept doing it. So you may think, oh, they're just trying to joke and stuff and be funny. We're not friends with them, and like they know we're not friends with them. And I feel like you would only really joke like that with your friends. So it was just really, really weird. So literally all you heard the whole bus ride was me telling them to stop putting their hand right there because they kept touching me and my friend. and then they would like accidentally bump our seat with their leg or their foot, and it was literally so annoying. And we told them to stop every single time, and they just kept doing it. So this is like where I started getting super annoyed, is their friends in front of us, their two friends in front of us, kept reaching their hand through our seat to like handshake the two friends behind us. So their hand was like literally right here in between me and my friend, and that's what really like ticked me off. Like, and the part that really annoyed me the most was the fact that they didn't even ask to switch seats with us so that their friends could be closer to them so they could do whatever they wanted to do, but instead they just wanted to annoy us and do it right across and in between us. So me and my friend kept telling them to stop, and of course they didn't, and we just had to deal with it for the bus ride there. And then we got off the bus and, you know, went our separate ways, went with our friends. And then the bus ride back home, that's when everything went terrible. So we were gonna sit in a different spot because we didn't want them in between us, like a sandwich. So we were gonna sit closer to the back because we were like in the middle. So we were gonna sit closer to the back, but people kept complaining, saying that people were in their seats and, you know, there were no seats left. I don't know how there were no seats left. So we went back to our original seats and we were in between the friends. Again, it started well and like, you know, nothing was going on. Me and my friend, we were tired because we left at like 8:30, so it was like getting dark. So we were tired, we were trying to go to sleep and listen to music. Literally everything was fine. Then it went terribly wrong. So once again, we were on the bus and they started kicking my seat. And I told them to stop. I was like, can you stop kicking my seat? I'm literally just trying to sleep. I'm not even saying anything to you. I'm not, you know, I'm not like pushing my seat back or nothing. I'm literally just listening to music and cuddled up against the window trying to go to sleep, listening to Janae Echo. Kept hitting my seat, and the boy behind me, the one that was doing it, started arguing with me, saying, I'm barely hitting your seat, I'm barely touching your seat, you need to shut up, leave me alone. If you were barely hitting my seat, I would not have felt it. So clearly you have to put a little bit of momentum in your hit for me to actually feel it, and that's exactly what he was doing. He was purposely hitting my seat to purposely get me upset because he knows that that would get me upset. And I was really trying to like stay calm because like, you know, it's not that big of a deal, like just stop hitting my seat. Like I'm not hitting the person in front of me's seat and they're not looking back and telling me to stop, so, you know, is it really that hard to sit still? So yeah, me and the boy started arguing and I was just like, just stop kicking my seat. Like it's really not that hard. Like he was doing so much and I literally, the whole point was him to stop kicking my seat. So yeah, the bus was so freaking loud, so for him to hear me I was definitely yelling because he was yelling at me, so I was yelling back. So yeah, the bus was literally so freaking loud. It was like a party, and the teachers were in the front of the bus and they did not care at all. They were just literally sitting down sleeping. I don't know what they were doing. So he had stopped, I'm pretty sure, and then like once it had got dark outside, that's when I feel like, I don't know, something was in the air and everyone started going crazy on the bus, and it was so freaking loud. And I was sleeping, or I was like cuddled up against the window, so I was facing this way. The window was right here, so I was facing this way on my phone, and like my feet were in my seat. So I was trying to sleep. Tell me why someone threw a grape at me. Someone literally threw a grape at me, and they like kept throwing them. I don't know what was going on through these people's heads, but it was mostly boys that were like surrounding, like in our surrounding seats. So yeah, but it was just so much happening. It was so loud. People were yelling, people were throwing grapes and fucking water, and it kept hitting me. Like our seat was in the middle, so I'm not surprised, but I honestly feel like they were like hitting me on purpose, and I still don't know who was doing it. So the first throw came from like this way, like it came like diagonally, so I was like, whoever threw that, don't throw that, don't throw nothing at me again. It was literally dark. I couldn't see a single person. Like I couldn't see no one except for my friend that was beside me, so they also had felt something hit them. So obviously they didn't stop, and they kept throwing stuff at me. I felt, okay, I don't know if it was purposely getting thrown at me, but it kept hitting me, so that's what like kept making me upset. And I kept saying stop, and like the teachers could hear me, and they didn't do a single thing. And I started getting like really upset because like I would just lean over and try to go back to sleep, and I just kept getting hit with something, and at first I didn't know what it was, but I turned my flashlight on and I saw it was a grape, and I was like, no, this is really dumb. Like, why are y'all playing? Like, it's not funny. So that's when I started thinking it was like the boys behind me. So I was like, who keeps throwing stuff? Is it one of y'all that keeps throwing something at me? And they were like, we're not throwing nothing, we're not throwing nothing. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I tried to go back to sleep again, and that's when I felt one of them kick my seat. That ticked me off. I got so freaking mad, and I started arguing with the two boys that were behind me. When I say arguing, I was yelling, I was mad. And you know how when you get so angry that like your eyes start watering, your voice starts getting shaky? That's how mad I was. Looking back at it, I'm realizing it wasn't that serious, but like I felt like they kept purposely throwing something at me and my friends, so it really annoyed me, especially since we were not bothering them and we were just being to ourselves. And the other thing that really annoyed me was the teachers not doing a single thing. So I literally had to text one of the teachers on my phone and tell them, and then that's when one of them came back and was like, stop throwing stuff, blah blah blah. And by the time the ride was basically over, so there was no point in them doing that. Like we were 10 minutes away from the school, so we were already terrorized and I was already annoyed. Obviously nothing happened, nobody got in trouble. It was the last day of school. I'm not really surprised, and looking back I might have overreacted, but I was so angry.